So, little thing about me is that I absolutely love the Red Dead franchise. It's my favorite hands down. It probably will always be my favorite. I don't know how a game is gonna top my various experiences. However, I also love The Sims 3. So I thought I would put these two things that I absolutely love and smash them together and make John Marston's house today. I've seen it done in Sims 4 before. I'm sure it's been done in Sims 3 before, but I just haven't done it and I really want to. I'm gonna try and make this pretty accurate, or as accurate as I can. Sims 3 has decent building, but I'm somewhat limited maybe to some finer details of what I can do. So this is John Marston. I feel like he looks more like a, I don't know, like a rocker than he does a cowboy. They are gonna be farming and ranching, but again, it's more in like a modern age. So I thought I'd bring it up. He's got his worn stripy trousers though that he always wears. You know, he's got his nice waistcoat. He still has the same jeans. He still has his cowboy boots on. I honestly don't think his face is that accurate. I was trying, but I'm not good at replicating like real faces in games, I find. And then we have got Abigail. I feel like her face is maybe closer. It was definitely like a nose and the mouth needed to be a certain way for Abigail. So I tried. I did try. And this is her kind of, you know, the blue top, the long skirt. I looked for like a floor-length skirt. None of them were it. None of them worked for me. Her formal wear is probably like the most cowboy-y thing that any of them have. So this is kind of just her shawl and her long skirt and stuff. She ain't gonna be riding the horses very much. She's gonna be canning stuff. They're gonna be farming as well. I know they're kind of more ranchy, but I have a canning station, so they're gonna use it. And of course we have little Jack. For Jack, I actually just played with genetics with Abigail and John, so hopefully when he ages up, he looks kind of like Jack, but who's to say? Again, his formal is kind of more of a casual formal, like necktie kind of vibes. And his outwear, again, kind of just ready to work, ready to help his dad, but also he's just going to be reading a lot of the time. If we know Jack from the first game, we know he doesn't. He just likes to be outside. He just wants to be reading, you know. And of course we also have their dog Rufus, who is not necessarily the right breed, but it was the best I could do. And we have, God, old boy's asleep. And we have old boy, John's horse. Now they do need to have more horses for the ranch, but they will get them in time. This is just a basic family. And you might be wondering where Uncle is. I considered making Uncle, but I just decided to not have him here yet. I might add him in though. But let's get building. So I am gonna build their house down at the end of this street. There was a house here. I've bulldozed it. It's near some farmy stuff. Obviously John's house is kind of in the middle of nowhere. I thought Appaloosa is probably the best town for it. Otherwise they could be at the end of this road, but this is a much smaller lot. So although this is gonna be as accurate as possible, it might be like semi-updated at points so it works for this town. Like I'm not gonna paint the whole ground to be that kind of sandy colored dirt. I'm probably gonna leave a lot of grass, a lot of brown dirt, but otherwise hopefully the house will be pretty accurate. The good thing is that the house is basically just a big square. But I want to get the layout to be semi-accurate. You've got like the main house, I'd say around here. You then have around here would maybe be the horse barn and the corral for the horses. And then you also have a little silo. And then there's a tree in between all of these. But then I do remember there's some kind of like little gazebo looking thing that's also off to the side behind the house. See, it might sound weird, but I am tempted to just put the kind of big tree in between all of them to start with so I can get like a bit of a layout for the place. And from what I recall, it is basically, which is kind of useful, it is basically just a big square. But I don't want to accidentally make it like too massive of a square because I have a tendency to build bigger in Sims games. Then if we think maybe like a 4x4 for the silo, because that'll just be more decorative. They definitely have the barn more forward. The thing is, I need to get this right because changing it's going to be a real pain. Barn isn't necessarily going to have foundations, but we'll put barn here. There's in theory another little building near that. This is fenced off for the horses, and then we will have the silo over here kind of behind the tree. I think that's a pretty decent layout. I do also have cows, so I might just give them some extra things as well. We basically just do this. This is basically how the house goes, and on the inside you end up having genuinely just a big cross section of hallways and rooms. The entrance is pretty skinny, and then these side parts are much wider. So I think if we did that, it'll be quite a cozy shape. And then in theory, there is a storage room kind of side room that goes off here. But I'd have to move the whole house over because then the gazebo's in the wrong place. But for some reason, this game does not want to level this terrain. So it's gonna be the bane of my existence. But if I just put flooring over it, can we build anyway? I will just cover up the fact there's a hole there. Perfect. That's all I need to know. Then around the front, we want to leave a little gap. We're gonna have... This sticks forward a little bit, and then we've got... Is that tree in the way? My placeholder tree in the way. We'll have this wrap around by then 3, and it goes to kind of there. So I don't forget we're doing that, and then we're doing this. That will be completely squared off. This still might be too big, but we will just wait and see. That will go there like that, and then that's an extra side porch. This is the front porch, and then silo, another barn, the bigger barn. Now, I don't think the silo needs to be 4 stories high. I've kind of blocked that in over there. I think 3 is more than enough because everything else is just like 1 level. Now the barn is only 1 story, and it has a kind of... It just has a big, long roof like that. So if we do the same kind of roof as on the barn, but we want to make it as shallow as possible, really, because from this side, you see the peak like that. Then off the side, there is also a kind of little... That might be too far in. There's kind of one of these that does not look like that, but it's kind of like that. And I might just have to bring it not as far over. Once this roof is in, I will not touch it ever again. See, that is slightly wrong, but I could just lift that a teeny bit and it would fit, but it's upsetting me because it should really go to here. But with how the roofs work, it's never gonna do that. We want one of these numbers. I'm gonna have to do it in loads of pieces because when it gets to a certain size, it flips which way it goes. Like that. We need these to be like that. I'm not loving it because you can see the roof clipping, but in this game, I can't really do anything about that. I'm also just gonna shorten this because it's only... It kind of looks like it would only be 3 wide stairs going up to it. But on the back of the house, there are 2 more of those kinds of windows, unfortunately. I might not even be able to put a window in there. I will have to see what the game will allow because usually it does not like windows and roofs unless the roof pieces are very tall. So I might have to find something that looks like a window that's not actually a window. Then I believe the roof that's on here is just another shallow kind of pointy one, which we'll have to do in sections again. That's the general roof vibe. It's just going to be these windows, which might be annoying and not actually get to be windows, but that's pretty close. Then there are a couple of almost like, it looks like eyebrows on the side of this. I guess they're probably only about 1 by 2. They kind of sit really shallow. That there's almost like I wouldn't make them roofs, but I don't have anything else to put there, so they're gonna have to be roofs. But the barn doors are just, it's just like 1 square too big. And I don't really have another door. It would have to end up being a garage door, and then that looks kind of weird, but it works a bit better, although it wouldn't be centered, which is kind of upsetting, to be honest. So let's just bring all that out by 1 maybe, and we'll just fix the roof real quick. I'm not against that, actually. It's probably much bigger than it should be, but I'm not against it. It is a barn, so I think it's fine. Now, now this silo, we can just put an octagonal roof on, or I could do a dome roof, but that looks like a mushroom. That's too big, that's too big, and then that one's not... See, it doesn't quite reach, but I could maybe make it blend in. The thing is, all the roofs are gonna have to be the same color. because it's Sims 3 as well. Now we could maybe, it's getting so complex for a roof, but maybe, would that be any better? I don't think so. I really don't. It might just have to be a dome. I think the dome is maybe the best option. The other one just looks a bit weird. And I know there's holes in the roof. I know. I'll fill that in with maybe some flooring and we can, or I could fence around it. That might help. But there is also, again, there's almost like a little eyebrow situation that I'd like to create. This is not happy. Look at the, what is it doing? It is so unhappy about this. That is not the vibe. Maybe what we could do is, because you won't see inside of this silo, like you can't actually access it. I wonder about doing like a, if I do like an off-center octagonal roof, it'll kind of do what it's doing in the game. It's just like a side area roof and then there's some pillars underneath it. I think that's probably the best we're gonna get. And this one I think would be fine to just go octagonal. That does overhang a lot though. So maybe just a little one. Does that even cover the base? No, it does. You know what? Kind of. But that's the general vibes. Ignore the fact the roof is floating. Okay? I know. We'll get there. So that does mean that this is kind of in the right place. I might put separate cows here. There is another building. There is also like a back shed too, but I'm not too phased about that. Now, we might want some dusty sand. Could be a good move, I think. Dotted around. There's also hill dirt. Actually, hill dirt's quite good. I'd like some worn down grass. I don't want it all to be super luscious because again, in he's in kind of quite a sandy dirt area. He doesn't necessarily have a path going to the house either, but we could kind of try and connect it to this bit of dirt that is already here that I cannot do anything with. So we may as well embrace it. Not even the ranch asphalt. It's like it's its own world's pathway and no one else can have it. And there's definitely some dried grass. I'm sure of it. Here, like this. It's gonna make it look so much less cared for, but I think we've got some, is there some normal grass as well? Is that it? I think that's it. I'm not gonna go crazy with it, but it would be nice to just have a couple, again, just to kind of like blend in the grass to the dirt, because this isn't, you know, this isn't really how it looks. Some of these rocks as well could be good to just plop around. I think we can kind of start moving on to decoration. Now, the roofs are pretty brown. I've got either this brown or we've got kind of lighter, more worn brown. The great news is the walls are just all the same wood. So I can just find one good wood, make it the best color, and go with it. Can I change the direction of that? Dreams. It's literally that color. That's the thing. So I basically, if I just do this, we're pretty much there. See, now I might want to change the roof because that looks slightly wrong with the roof. This feels like it's the right kind of color. We could bring his farm to the modern ages. We could cover it in solar panels. You know what? There is that kind of color. It's more red maybe than it should be, but I don't hate that. The silo does have more of a tin kind of roof, but again, I can't change the roof colors per building, so it is what it is. Is that doing weird? It's doing weird shading things, which I don't approve of. Why is that middle bar just weird? Why is that lighter? That shouldn't be lighter. It's the same. I drag and dropped. Should be the same wood color. Ignore the stripes. It's just my roof being nonsense. Okay. Go. All the colors match. It's very brown. But that is how the house be. We better hope the inside is how I want it to be, because otherwise there's just no going back. I'm probably gonna have to delete these pillars, aren't I? Yeah. It's just after I lined up these pillars and I can't even put the stairs in that I want. I have to remember to do stuff in a weird order for this. And actually, we might have to deal with these being more sticky outy than I would like, but that's not too bad. I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try and do this gazebo thing, but I I don't really know the best way to do it. I can't really do wraparound stairs. So if it was here and if it was on the angle, like you just can't do that. So I think I'll just have to go with one set of stairs up. Actually, you know what we could do? This is gonna be slightly makeshift. We'll do that. And then I will just pop fencing around the rest. This again for me is probably more decorative. For them, they can fit a table in, I think. I'm just gonna cover this thing in pillars and hope for the best. There we go. Okay, so I'll probably... I don't need any more fencing down here, but I will put kind of these underneath these little eyebrows. Okay, I'm going for garage door. I do believe horses can walk through garage doors, but this is more of a decorative build than an actual functional build. In here there is... oh, that has a fish on it. There is a ranch one, isn't there? There's a ranch one. It's a pretty fancy looking ranch one though. It has a shell on it, but it's not too bad. We've got this one. Can I change the gold though? It is stuck with this gold on it, which I'm not a massive fan on, to be honest, but I think it works. This will have the horses in. And actually, whilst I think about it, how big is the corral? There we go. We've got the milk in it dairy corral, which I could just put next to the horses maybe. There is another little side building, and then we could have a kind of little chicken coop. Could be down here somewhere, and we could put, whilst I think about it, also a little doghouse for Rufus. We'll definitely sleep inside too, but I think it would be nice to also have him have a little house. He might actually have a house somewhere on the lot anyway in the game, but I'm not 100%, so I'm gonna put it there. All right, windows. Windows and doors. I am telling you right now, we are not gonna get a window up here, I don't think. Because unless you have it max height, you can't change the height of the windows in this, so you are kind of stuck. So we'll probably just have to go no windows for that. He doesn't have nice flower boxes, but I wonder about giving them nice flower boxes for this house. Because this is, you know, this is them established. I think it's nice. Maybe Abigail's put some flowers in the window boxes. On the back are actually quite small little windows. Like here, and even there's almost one there. And one off center there. And I'm also gonna use this basic window on the top of the barn. Don't need a ton of windows on this barn, but just the classic like couple in the top up here in the roof. That's just a good time. I think I am gonna duck into doing the barn because again, I don't think we're really gonna put much in there. Did I paint this wall? Yes, good. I'm gonna do like a half thing here and we'll pop a ladder in. And we could just put some hay up here maybe. I think that'll work if we put hay. Yeah, this is just like hay storage, you know. So how many wide is this? 6. So I might just do that and then kind of do the same. We'll put some more hay down here and then some decorative kind of outdoor stuff somewhere. This feels like kind of barn cross just extra stuff. Like there's a shovel we could pop on the wall. We've got the milk thingy. We could also put a milk one out here by the corral itself too. Just a couple of them. I might put the trough out here actually. Can be one there. And although the cows don't actually need one, I am going to put one on the outside. I'm going to move objects at though. I was going to put flooring down, but I think it would just make more sense to do... maybe just like dirt or sand in here. It is a barn. Oh, I might put a little bit of dirt just dotted around as well. And I'm going to put some more grass in here, I think, too. Just like the odd bit so it looks... blends in again. Okay, that seems good to me. I'm not 100% if horses can go through. I'm really hoping they can go through the garage door. I think they can. I think. If I do say so myself. I think it's looking okay. I'm also curious about if Bite-a-Bug has any good, just general outside decorative things. Like maybe that's where I saw the pipe. I'm not sure. There's bits of rocks. Oh, that's good. That's a movie set piece, but that's kind of great though. The wagon? Wait. I'm gonna move the chicken coop and the doghouse for this wagon because what do you mean? Like, look at that. Is that not perfect? We can still have Rufus be out here somewhere. And we can still have the chickens kind of tucked away under this tree, I think. That kind of works. Or we could put the chickens out by the silo maybe. I don't think there's anything else. There is gravestones, there's a mountain waterfall if we want one. I think that's pretty much the outside done. And mainly decorated. I could definitely put some more bits. I feel like here looks a little bit empty, but I do think that's coming together pretty nicely. All right, so we've done the internal of the barn. We've done whatever internal of the silo we were gonna do. So the only other thing I'm gonna do for the outside is sort out some wall lights and just put some lanterns hanging up on the side. Maybe put some floor ones in, just dotted around as well, because there'd probably be floor ones out here or on like a couple of surfaces instead. I do need to put some actual furniture on the porch and stuff, but that can wait, I think. Can I kind of cheese this to make it look like it's on a pillar? There are a lot of pillars here. You know, I can, so that works. We'll put one on that. Pop a couple on the barn. Pop one, maybe just to either side of the barn. There is a lot of light coming from the barn, I will say. So now for the inside. The first thing I'm going to put down though is a fireplace, because I do believe, and I'm going to have to reference my video, I do believe as you go in, to the right here is kind of like the living room. I think there's a table here. I want to say this is the kitchen, John and Abigail's room. And then I can't remember which one Jack's in. I might have them wrong. I will look it up just to make sure. They have a very pebbly kind of looking fireplace. I don't think I have anything similar. The closest is probably recoloring this one in the kind of strange triangle it is. And I did forget the chimney is now gonna just bump into that room. Wait! Oh, we just delete the chimney, buddy. How about that? Can I just delete? Wait a minute. Since when? Is that just a move objects thing? Do I have a mod I've forgotten I had? Okay, so actually on the left as you enter the house, I need to get this right. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go room by room so I can get this right. The first room on the left is the bathroom, and they have a bath smack bang in the middle of the room. Can I make the outside of it be wood, or are we kind of stuck? I can. Of course I can. Why wouldn't I be able to? There we go. I might, you know what? We need some lights. It's so dark in here. And the wall is kind of a half-paneled blue number. I am just going to use this for a starting point. I do like this pattern. I might just use that for the sake of it somewhere else. It's a fairly dark wood, and this is kind of the same color as I made like Abigail's top. It's quite like a deep dusty blue. Alrighty, and then there are some pretty fancy curtains, to be honest. I don't know if I have anything as fancy. There's these ones are pretty close, or as close as I can get. Honestly, maybe these ones. It's something. It really is something. This room is also too big. I feel like I've done a classic and I've built bigger than I should. See, I might have to move this window actually. For the sake of the bathroom's layout, I'm gonna move that window over because there is a dresser in this little corner. And it is quite a tall one. So I'm wondering about doing this guy. You know what? It has a squirrel in it, but I think that's pretty cute. You have quite like a fancy mirror in this corner. It's not, I mean, it's not wildly fancy, but it's an ornate mirror, I would say. Wow. That is not the vibe. Well, you see, I guess they don't have a toilet, actually. In the game, they don't have a toilet because, you know, it is cowboy times. They just have an outhouse. But I think for the sake of modernizing this build just a teeny bit, we might make this actually be a functioning bathroom. Maybe even to the point I will build an extra wall in here to make it a bathroom. And that means, well, I could put, we'll do another little bit of a rearrange. I'll put the partition there. And I do have, see, I do have a good sink for this, but it is a CC sink. Otherwise there is this base game sink, which would do pretty good, but I love this so much. Like, look at that. Isn't that a lovely sink? I might just put another mirror there, and there are there's the odd pot plant dotted around. So I might pop just like a little fern in here or something. Maybe another lantern in. We obviously want a lantern in the toilet as well. Toilet, we could use the one from Pets, or I think, although I guess we do have an outhouse. I didn't think we had an outhouse, but I do have an outhouse. So actually this changes things. I'm gonna put an outhouse outside, but I am also gonna have a toilet inside for general functionality. They have one of those kind of red rugs in there, so we're gonna go with it. We're gonna do that. And that's kind of the bathroom vibe, to be honest. There might be the odd picture and stuff though, so we could just put a nice painting in there. We'll keep it, you know, we'll keep it nice. I guess they do have, so this is the dining area. They do have an overhanging light in here. Let me just sort out some lights so I can actually see what I'm doing. They have a kind of chandelier thing hanging, or we could go full yeehaw. Oh, that one's kind of nice actually, but it's not accurate, but it's nice. Could go full yeehaw and go for the wheel, but I think we could do that. Okay, I've gone through and done like the beams on the corners again, because that does just add to it on the inside, like that little bit of extra detail. This is very much just a dining space. I really like this table. The table doesn't seat that many, but I do just really like that table. I feel like there's not many good 6-seater tables that look that nice. Although we do want kind of country looking. So I could do this basic one, and then the chairs are kind of like a mismatch. Maybe a couple of this kind, and then just a completely random chair like this one. Could work. I think it's fun doing that in like a country house. It's like the Friends table. And there is some kind of display or like sideboard kind of thing. Something like that could work. It just needs to be a bit thinner. So I do think might be better off being just a display. So if I do a couple of these, I can't necessarily intertwine them because move objects does not allow that, but then we can just pop on some little decorative things on there. There is another curtain situation that we need to deal with, but these are all kind of too small. I've got that one, which is actually, you know what? Even though that's made for 3 windows, I think that's the best. And this is actually a kind of red color. Maybe not that obviously patterned, but it is kind of a red. So we can do that. I didn't see, but I just spun the camera, and there is a larger kind of display shelf on this wall. So I'm thinking could go for this kind of thing. Now Abigail does have some flowers and stuff laid out on the table, so that's a nice time. We can put a couple of things down. Might put a couple of plants on the shelf. I actually think there might be a wall display that has plates on anyway, if I remember right. Oh wait, I just found a box of horse grooming stuff, so we can put that in the shed. Put that in the barn even. Hadn't realized that. We could put this here as a little sideboard. So I do have these cookbooks, which annoyingly, I don't know why it's only really going in the middle, but I quite like them. A wheel. We've got to have a wheel somewhere. As you do. Actually, I did also just find these bridles and stuff, so we'll put these. We'll also pop these out there, maybe. These! They're cat plates. I don't know if that was the one I was thinking of. I don't think it was, but there's some cat plates. Oh, that's cute, actually. We'll get rid of the mistletoe, it's a bit much. But the cat plates is something. It's almost what I was thinking of. You know, I think we're just never gonna know. I will find it when I'm not looking for it. That's what's gonna happen. Move that flower to the side. I'm gonna move the picture over a little bit. I didn't necessarily want to use CC, but I do want to use a one more slot package, which is CC, unfortunately. And then that can sit there nicely. And actually, I'm probably gonna do same for this one candle because it's annoying me how off it is next to that plant, really. Okay, I think all I need is a rug really now. And I do hate making rugs in this game. I'm just not good at making rugs in this game. This is quite a big rug too. Maybe too big, but the other one looked too small, so I can't win. I keep it in the realm of a red. Maybe make the outside something like that, maybe. Okay, I think that's pretty, you know what, it's my own take on it, but it's pretty nice. Now, the thing is, in their lounge room, they do have a piano, but the problem for me is that there's no flat wall pianos. The only piano is this beast. So unless I do a keyboard, if we have a keyboard, I'm sure we do. Okay, we do have a keyboard, but is that even gonna fit? I need to fit in a sofa in here too, we'll see. I do like this doily kind of coffee table, and I do believe the base game kind of very fancy sofas will be good. Like that one's a good one. We have a rocking chair situation in here as well. Weirdly enough, there don't seem to be any other lights in here, but I am going to take creative liberty and put another one in there. I don't think they're not going to have a keyboard, you know? I don't know who was learning piano, but they don't get one anymore. Honestly, it's hard to say what kind of color it is, but I might go for... I think I might go for more of like a rusty red color again. Now, I could give them a TV, but I am thinking of leaving it no TV. I'll make sure they have a bookcase though, for sure. There's actually apparently a window here, which is not how I have it at all. Might add an extra window in. And move some of these paintings around a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna put a bookcase in this corner. Not that one. That one has little plates on it. That's cute. Honestly, that color kind of just works as well. I might drag that one onto it though. If that even changes much, not really. Okay, I'm gonna make it much darker than it was. We also need to make this look like stones. Which, I mean, it's never gonna look as if it was just made of stones, but I don't currently have one that does. That one's probably pretty good. I can't change the mantelpiece color either, but that's fine. We'll also ignore the fact that the chimney is just like in here. It's just the look of it, okay? And I'm gonna put another armchair in as well that isn't a rocking chair. Maybe this one. I like this one quite a bit. We'll put it facing this way. Again, it's slightly different than the game itself, but we are taking some creative liberties in this. I might put a little pile of books here, like Jack's just been rifling through books as he does. Oh, some barrels too. Oh, wait a minute, I found barrels. I found used nectar barrels, but they're going outside. They must. Okay, I'm gonna save it again because it was lagging quite a bit in creative style just now and I'm concerned. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do on this back wall is just add in a kind of fairly large picture, I think. There's either this guy, or I could just go slightly more modern and go for a wagon wheel. Which, I mean, I'm tempted to go wagon wheel. I think it's quite nice. I'm wondering about going for apples and spaniels, which is a very strange combination, but I kind of like them. They both look just hand-painted, which is nice. I did just have a thought about possibly making the right kind of piano, but it's still not gonna fit is the thing. But if I got a large dresser, it's gonna be so silly, but if you get a large dresser, and a keyboard. Is the keyboard too wide? Do you see what I'm going for? If I have a wide enough dresser, that would probably work. Or could I, ooh. Wait, here's the thing. Now, hang on a minute. I'm gonna do some shuffling because I have maybe had a brainwave. I still don't think this is gonna be functional though. Like, it's not gonna actually fit for use, but it does fit. Oh, I just had this brainwave. This is absolutely gonna set on fire in 2 seconds as well, just by the way. I've made an old-timey piano. There's no way they can use this. I don't know. I'll have to check. I don't think they'll be able to, but it's just, it gives the right vibe, which is nice. Okay, Abigail and John's bedroom is this one, and the windows have kind of lined up better than I thought they would. They do have a long-running rug for which is basically the whole length of the room, and it's in a very light kind of coloring. And they do have the room in quite a strange layout because you have the bed. I guess it's under the windows, but it's off-center under the windows. So for me, I am just gonna put it under the windows. They have like a 4-poster without anything on the top. So it's kind of like this, but ignore the wood on the top. So I don't really have that. I have ones with the curtains, which I'm tempted to just use anyway, but because the window's there, I don't love that. I think the best option is just to go for the wooden one. And we'll just have to ignore the fact it doesn't have posts. Now they do have a fireplace in here as well, which backs onto where this one is. But what I'm thinking instead, again, I'm going to start taking some creative liberties here, is I might give them just a kind of corner one. They don't have a bedside table on either side. They do have another dresser though. They have one that's pretty much this in a corner, so I'm gonna give them that as well, but I think we'll do one bedside table. Because otherwise, I'd like to put a lamp on instead of a wall light, so we can pop that on here. I'm gonna make this match just for the sake of everyone's sanity. Pop a lamp there and a candelabra type thing there. And honestly, that's kind of all they have in the bedroom, really. They have some other cupboards and stuff, so I could do another shelf. Like, this shelf's a good one to just put random things on. Wait, oh, I thought that was the plates. Still on the hunt for those plates. I know there's plates somewhere. I might actually, in here, there's that quite haunting picture of a man. This one. Might put that in there. That kind of works. Pop a couple of plants in. That's the problem with the slots. This is why I have one more slot. That works. Okay, now I do believe Jack's bedroom is here, and then the kitchen might be here, but it might be flipped. Okay, actually, opposite their bedroom is the kitchen. This house is also getting so pricey. It's so expensive. It's gonna be over like 100,000 to buy this house. So it's kind of paneling like this, but yeah, very kind of light blue. It's kind of a strange vibe in the kitchen, I feel like. And this is where it's gonna be kind of, I'm just gonna have to work with what I have got, because I don't really have a really old looking oven. I have a couple of the store items like the baker station. Should I pop it out here? I've got the baker station and I've got the canning station, which I do want to use, but I don't think the canning station works as an oven. So I do just have to also have an oven in there. It has like a big range hood and stuff, which obviously I can't do that. So I am stuck. Counters, that means what I might do is use the matching counters from pets as well. I will change the color of those though. Might pop the canning station on that wall. I like the idea of her having a baking station too. And to be honest, we could even have another one of these in the corner. Maybe? There's very little prep room. We do, of course, need to have a fridge as well, which wouldn't be in the game, but What I might do instead of the fireplace is pop a fridge there. Now there is a ladder in the corner of this room, which would be about here. Maybe it extends more, that goes up into the roof, which I have not done. I did not do that. Forgive me, I didn't realize, and to change that now would be a nightmare. Honestly, the color of the base of these is probably okay. I do just want to make the top be some kind of wood like that, and then I will pop that on absolutely every surface to make it all look kind of built in. That's a bit of a nightmare though. We don't have a sink in here, which we should probably have. And I wonder about using the freestanding sink. Like the taps are kind of the wrong color. But this kind of, it feels like one of those country kitchens where everything's just kind of the wrong sort of place. That's kind of it. There are some upper cabinets which are quite shallow, to be honest, but I don't really have that option. But I'll put some pots and pans in. I might just put them on that wall though, which is slightly different, and they do seem to be like a darker blue color. Might put some in that corner. I don't know that they can use that sink actually. Let's not do that. I change of plan, let's not. I mean, what I could do is just, you know, we just do wraparound kitchen and we just like modernize it a tiny bit. Again, I know it's then not, you know, all that accurate, but we could put in a sink. Can they use a sink above that? I genuinely don't know. I don't want you being a corner. Stop being a corner. No one asked you to be a corner. Oh my, we're not, you know what? We're not doing it. We're not having that there. Forget it. Now we need some of the random decor. I do have some random kitchen stuff. Not a ton of, like I do have some jam. I have some like instant looking coffee. I've got some peanut butter, which we'll put on the canning station. You know what? My no CC has kind of gone out the window because I do just have some perfect country looking things to use. So what is this, Western Weekly? Oh, wait a minute. Why do I not have that in my house? Can we put that, does that fit anywhere? Maybe put it in Jack's room. Oh, we could put it as you go in. There we go. Perfect. Alright, Jack's room is actually pretty darn colourful, so it's kind of fun that we left this one till the end. But it's kind of like this same kind of vibe, but he has quite like a yellow coloured wall. He also has a kind of 4-poster bed that doesn't have the top, which is either this unicorn one that I have, or there's a boat bed. Unfortunately, that's not the vibe. There's a castle looking bed. Vampire Sanctum. There's this one with the flowers on, which I think always has the flowers on. Some of them take it off at the very end ones, but I think that still has it. But that is pretty much exactly his bed. He is one of the few family members that actually has a side table in his bedroom too. I mean, he has pretty much the exact same vanity as in the parents' room, kind of on this angle, so I will give him the same one. He's got a globe in his room. He seems to have a kind of bench here, or like a storage box, and he has a desk slotted in there as well. I'm gonna move this rug. It's kind of too small, to be honest, but I don't have an in-between size. None of these are necessarily the vibe. That one's probably the best one. Okay, I think I'm gonna change the rug. The rug is not the rug is not a good time. I could maybe make it that, although it's very much not that. But we could just, you know what? We're gonna take some creative liberties here. I still dislike this. I want you all to know I dislike this rug a lot. Very much so. We could put a toy basket in the way of the sofa, but I think that it's fine. That's more decorative anyway. A little spyglass, that kind of screams Jack to me. This wall is kind of just covered in stuff, to be honest. Definitely a train set. I might put that above the desk instead of the coats, because that's a bit of Jack right there. If there's any kind of like posters, there's a picture we could pop. I mean, the fish is kind of weird, but he does have a lot of random pictures. Maybe I'm gonna get rid of the fish and we're gonna go for this and this picture of a town. Maybe put this fishing painting here. I don't know that he has very pale blue curtains. Oh, now we could use these ones. That kind of works. Okay, well, Jack's room came together pretty darn quick. I might just put another light in the corner, and I think maybe I will just add the pencil pot. There's some paintbrushes. We'll add the paintbrushes and we'll add the pencil pot. Why do you want to sit in the middle? Why? Must you? You're telling me you can't put that there? Well, you know what? I don't want to do the one slot thing, so I'm going to put the spyglass on the floor. Just for fun. But I guess that's Jack's room. We could also, just as like an extra visual, which I do like to do, is just pop the alarm clock on the table. We can pop one in here as well. It's not really like a good wall clock for them. There is a grandfather clock though, which could be good to have in the hallway. And honestly, I think except for there being like a coat rack in the corner, that is pretty much their house done. I'm gonna put this dresser here though as a kind of entrance, little entrance dresser, but I mean, I'm looking and it's pretty close. I just gotta do the outside and see what's out there. I did find this, which was kind of cute, but I just think it works. Bring some of the wooden crates back to also be on the porch maybe. Okay, so I've placed some barrels, there's some chairs, there's some other plant things which he doesn't really have in the game, but I thought would be nice. But there's one more thing that needs to be done before we can say we have completed this, and that is there is like the skull above the door. Now I'm gonna have to use one more slot for that because I can't just get this. It's here. Even with move objects, if it wants to be up here, it is a real pain. So I'm gonna have to just one more slot it into the right place, which is gonna be probably also a pain and maybe not work, but we can dream. I think it's also because it's a wall object, it's kind of gonna act a bit funky. The only way I could think to do it is to make this be flat. So I can put that above it, then delete it, and then put the stairs back. The things we do for this house, in real life, the red and white disappears. So that would be probably about right, or we bring it down there like that. I think I might have missed like a few of the tinier details. Dog bowl. Wait, we need a dog bowl. But yes, otherwise, I mean, I think it's done. They are all moved in, everyone is here. The only question is, can we get to some of these places? Because honestly, it might just be more decorative for the most part, but we'll see if John can ride there. And then whilst we wait, let's just see if Abigail can play that piano. I'm gonna guess the piano is a no somehow. Okay, I've made an old-timey piano, what a dream. Look at that, that is Beach's Hope in The Sims 3, or my version anyway. I think it's just a nice ranch house, to be honest. But final little tour, of course, we have got the barn here. We've got another story to the barn just with some extra hay. Old boy is enjoying his water. We've got some cows. I do believe they have cows on the actual ranch in the game as well, so that's pretty decent. The silo is empty, but for looks purposes, there you go. And we do have some chickens back here. We've got a spare little wagon and... oh, I just jumped to the top of the silo. And we have an outhouse back here, which actually I'm just gonna move it to this side of the wagon so it's not near the nice gazebo if they want to sit out there. Otherwise we also have Rufus's little house over here and just some decorative wagons and the little windmill. Then inside, oh, Rufus brought the paper in. Inside, as you go in, to the left, you have the bathroom we have adapted for modern living and have added in a toilet and a sink though. Why is this them so well? Like, John's just enjoying Abigail's music. and Jack is just reading in the corner. And Rufus is destroying the rug that I spent so long deciding what to do with. Anyway, so over here we have obviously the dining table. It's just got some nice decorations on the wall as well. Then off of the dining room is the kitchen, which is pretty great. Canning station and bakery station, oven as well, and fridge. This is John and Abigail's bedroom, which is fairly close to theirs. Their room is also bigger, same with the lounge, but I don't like to make the builds too big. And we of course also have Jack's room, which just has some fun decor that he's maybe made, or he's built that plane himself. And lastly, there is the little kind of side storage extra space, which has a workbench in as well. Again, you are meant to reach that from the ground, not from the porch, but I didn't realize, and you can't really play with platforms too well either, so it is what it is. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed how I decided to go about building this. It was fun to do. It's always fun to recreate something from a game or a movie and kind of somewhat put a twist on it or make it look like it fits in with the world you're building it in. So the silo's not my favorite, but otherwise I don't think I did too badly. If I'd done this from memory, that would have probably been like a whole different story. I would have been curious to see what I would have done. Anyway, so that is enough rambling from me. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you very soon in another one. Bye!